Well, we were very worried about the storm as it approached. Thankfully, we had advanced knowledge of it, and we made the decision Friday into Saturday before the storm hit that this was going to be very serious.
We opened our command centers at all of our campuses so that there was a place for people to come with problems as they presented. But the diversity of problems was sort of staggering, from things as simple as getting supplies into the hospital.
We had learned from a number of incidents. We had 9/11, we had the Northeast blackout, we've had multiple snowstorms that have paralyzed the city, and so from the moment we knew something was coming, we went into action. We pulled up our inventories of what we have, and we started building up those inventories to ensure that under all circumstances we could survive an event of this nature. The hurricane hit, it was Sunday, right before the hurricane hit. They closed the bridges and tunnels here. We already had all of our staff in place, making sure that we can move things around the hospital.
Our management team working with the emergency management, so he informed us about the hurricane, so we have to stay here to make sure that the supplies get to the floors the next day. Every crisis, every hurricane, every natural disaster drive us, to work together.
And we had about 2,100 patients in the hospital at the time the hurricane blew in, and all those patients needed people to take care of them, and people just made heroic efforts in order to get in.
My commitment to work to get in was because we were short on manpower. I was needed. I lived close by, so I parked close to the 59th Street Bridge and decided to walk over the bridge in the rain and the wind to make sure that I was on duty to assist in anything that we needed to do.
We're also asked to help feed the staff who were staying over, so we did open up our retail outlets and fed the staff some free meals during the time of the storm, who stayed here and was working to help keep our patients safe and our facilities dry and everything else. It was just pure joy and pride. The team stepped up, they were great together. We were all working some crazy hours, but there was no complaining.
Especially at 68th Street, we were going to have a fair amount of potential for flooding damage. We knew where our vulnerabilities were. We knew where we had switch vulnerabilities.
To emergency, you got a red light here was coming up, and then we know something was going on here. The water was coming up from that part of the pipe, the top of the pipe, around the pipe, and then it was running through that trough, going inside here. When isolated, we take out the control wires, we isolate it, then after the generator, after, a little bit, then it go back to normal,
Our employees performed just remarkably. The East River was flooded. New York was blacked out from below 40th Street, but our hospital kept going.
We did not anticipate, obviously, NYU and Bellevue closing. It was frightening. As the first hospital closed, we figured we could help with the evacuation, but then after that, we were concerned about the volume that we'd possibly see in the emergency room. We did work with the command center and start diverting patients to the Allen Hospital in Columbia.
We were assigned to go down to New York University to transport a patient out of their ICU up to the ICU uptown in the Milstein Hospital.
It was organized chaos, to say the least. They brought patients down upwards of 20 flights of stairs, being ventilated on specialized extrication equipment and specialized equipment to assist these patients to sustain life.
We're very fortunate because we didn't have any disruptions in service. Our fear more was what was going on in the city, and we didn't know what was going on. So it was that impending feeling of what's coming. But we were so fortunate to have all our resources, and our doors were open for them. Our patient care director was discussing with the command center, let's find more room, let's find more space on where we're going to bring with these patients. We would never say no. We really were excited about being able to help in the city.
I could think of many, many heartbreaking examples of people who lost a lot or lost everything, and yet they were here working and helping other people. What can you say when you have dedication like that, except that you know that you're doing the right thing, and you're glad that you're working with people like that.
The patient load was incredible. Just the amount that the nurses that we had to take care of was way more than we were used to taking. The nurses were just dealing with a huge influx. The patients were in the hallways. We were extending the borders of our ER out into the outside hallways and then into the lobbies.
I really felt the need to stay here. Some days were 17 hours, and I really didn't want to leave because we never knew what was going to happen next. Our staff was completely resilient. Nobody really wanted to rest because we felt like we could be here helping out. It came down to military cots, people laying on cots, sleeping in rooms with no complaints. Like nobody was saying, I don't want to be here. Actually, people were trying to get here no matter what means of transportation.
I've been here a long time. My management team is a very strong management team. They've experienced a lot of different disasters that have impacted the hospital. So part of our planning is based on our experience and what we've seen. We then had to respond to the needs of our employees. So was trying to get them here was the first issue that we had. So we had to reach out to local bus companies and charter buses, and we actually deployed buses from a bunch of different locations in all the boroughs. I think a lot of us made a lot of sacrifices. A lot of guys and ladies that work in our department really stepped up and met the challenge. We actually got fuel from the government, and what we ended up doing was started a fueling station at the Allen Hospital. So for 3 consecutive days, we kind of opened up at 5 a.m. and ran all the way through until almost midnight on each of those days, and we fueled thousands of vehicles that were hospital employees, because you really couldn't fuel at regular stations because the local community didn't have gas. By having that fuel, it provided staff with the opportunity to fuel their vehicles and to be able to go to and from work and come in and take care of patients.
The team up at Columbia has really been extraordinary through the storm and all of the unusual and difficult circumstances that they've had to face. You know, first of all, the people need to be taking care of their own situations. Many of our staff left their homes, their families, their loved ones, and came here to take care of patients and really put patients first.
The team here performed beautifully. We were all a core of experienced veterans handling emergencies like this.
This was truly the ultimate test, and I was proud to be a part of it. New York-Presbyterian rose to the occasion.
The hospital wasn't back to its normal state until the beginning of February, when Bellevue fully reopened, and that sort of sustained activity is what makes a difference between an institution, a hospital that is truly prepared and truly dedicated to dealing with the issues.
At a time like this, everybody's got to come together, and the institutions as a whole need to come together, and they did, and I think did a remarkable job. But I feel very gratified with the contribution that New York Presbyterian made to this effort as a whole.